Hey, what's going on, people? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, host Jan. I hope you're all doing well today, man. I really hope that. Wolves 2, Chelsea 1 in what was a frustrating and sometimes peculiar game. A game of two halves, countered each other in many ways. Two great goals. Well, to be honest, all goals were pretty darn good, if you ask me. Goals scored from Giroud, Podence, and Neto. Really could have done with this win, could have gone top of the Premier League again with a W. Look, man, Wolves away is hard. Wolves are a very good side against the big six teams, especially, I guess, at home. They were at home, we were a big six team. It would have been a massive 3 points had we won it, and I was feeling relatively confident. I did predict a 2-1 Chelsea win, but in fact it was the other way around. There's a lot of stuff that happened. Anyway, this is your match review, boys and girls. So I don't know, sub if you want, I don't know. Take a deep breath, and let's get into the match review. Right, so 2-1 Wolves, Frank Lampard, Nuno Espirito Santo. They went back to a 3-back system. They're of course still about Raul Jimenez. They still got loads of decent players up front though, Wolves, much more than I thought they had. And it was a really peculiar game. The first half, it was sort of like Chelsea just had the better of it. Do you know what I mean? It was a little like probably like 55% possession. Growing into the half towards the end, we start the second half and we're much more on top, and we capitalise relatively early off an Olivier Giroud volley. A nice goal, right at the keeper, but it was too hot to handle, and scores a goal. 1-0 Chelsea, and we deserved it at that point. It was a good goal. Now later on in the second half, Wolves equalise via a Podence goal, and it's good work, to be honest. He keeps the ball in our penalty area, he keeps dribbling it and carrying it. Perhaps a bit fortunate to get the deflection of Reece James, so Mendy can't save it, but yeah, I don't want to be too biased, and with Chelsea, it was a great goal by Podence, and he deserves props for that. Chelsea sort of come back, and it's kind of like a peculiar game where there was no real open spells of flair from a team or dominance, and I think that's probably because this was a relatively evenly contested game. In many ways, Frank Lampard makes a couple of changes, but I'm going to say it now, mate. While Timo Werner and Kai Havertz aren't firing respectively, we are kind of Hakim Ziyech FC. Even Hudson-Odoi, we missed him. Wingers, you need wingers. Pulisic, of course, offered a new threat, and we will get to player performances, but at the moment we lack that sort of real, I don't know, something in the final third. Anyway, Neto, who actually dived in the penalty area, which was originally awarded a penalty, and of course rightly corrected by VAR. But once VAR looked at it, and once the referee looked at the monitor, he would have seen, oh yeah, there was no contact on the player, therefore it is not a penalty, therefore he dived, therefore I should book him for simulation. Which of course he didn't, which frustrated me. Now Neto went on to score the winner really late on, and fair play, good goal again. I'm not going to try and whinge and whatever, but he would have only been on the yellow anyway, so I'm just saying, when players dive in the box, you need to book them. Anyway, Wolves win, and they deserve it. Certainly in that second half, they were dominant, I think. They were good. They showed, while they're a good team, their passing became quicker, slicker, they're defensively resolute, of course, even when we had very short dominant spells because the game was so even. That back five line, we couldn't really get past it. Our biggest threat was Pulisic trying to get in behind, and ultimately towards the end we huffed and puffed a little bit to try and maybe steal the point, but Wolves deserved it on the day, and it was frustrating. And to be honest, man, the way I looked at this team today, the Chelsea team, they looked a little bit gassed out. And, no one looks that sharp. Maybe we're paying the price for playing so many games in Europe as well. It's finally sort of caught up with us. Although the fixture schedule is only going to get worse. A big problem for this Chelsea side at the moment is Kai Havertz not firing and Timo Werner not firing, who we all know are both very talented players, but they need to click into gear. They've both actually got worse than how they were playing for Chelsea. Granted, with Kai Havertz, he had the illness and he had really bad symptoms, so I kind of give him a little bit of a pass with that. Apparently it can really screw you up. So fair enough. But Timo Werner, has he been overplayed? Has he been overcooked? Is he just that ineffective on the wing? Anyway, this is a good opportunity and a good time to get into player performances. So let's get into that now. Eduardo Mendy played pretty well, as you know, no mistakes really. I think the goals that he conceded, neither are his fault really. You know, the first one was a deflection, and the second one I don't think it was his fault. He actually made a couple of good saves. So fair play, Edu Mendy, you did okay in this game. You released the ball and tried to get up the pitch quickly. I think he was absolutely fine. Ben Chilwell, of course, got the assist for the Olivier Giroud goal. I think he was exposed a couple of times that I noticed in this game. It wasn't his best defensive performance, and probably not his best offensive performance either, but when you get an assist in the only goal in Chelsea's game, fair play, mate. Honestly, I think Thiago Silva and Zuma were fine. Zuma was eating up everything in the air in that first half. Literally, he wins everything. And he pressed up when he needed to. Thiago Silva did some intelligent defending. To be honest, they were both fine. We were caught in transition a couple of times. And honestly, the first goal, the Podence goal, we should have cleared it. And that was a whole team, was a whole team failure. Get the ball, clear it up the pitch till, we didn't do that. Podence eventually just walks onto the box with the ball and scores. Reece James, sort of an okay game by his standards, a good game by an average, right back standards, or an okay game. I don't know, he didn't do anything magnificent. He's capable of the magnificent. Didn't get that many crosses in, but I put that down to Wolves' back five. You don't get space to put a cross in when there's 5 players equally spaced along the back. So I kind of give him a little bit of a pass, but not too inspirational from Reece James. Now, Kante was really good. He was my man of the match. N'Golo Kante, he was absolutely imperious in that first half, winning everything back, doing fouls when he needs to, winning the ball back everywhere, getting the ball up, and doing some good passes as well. Really impressed me. And another thing that impressed me with Kante is winning so many aerial duels. For a guy that's 5'6", he wins a lot in the air. So he's my man of the match. Mason Mount, okay, he was the better of the 2 8s, which won't surprise you at the moment. I did some good combinations on the left with Pulisic and Chilwell when Pulisic's on that side. Havertz, very, very disappointing again. Probably not as bad as he has been recently. I expect him to grow back into the side a little bit, but yeah, not inspirational. And he was, of course, subbed for Mateo Kovacic. I believe it was the first sub, or it was a double sub. So we'll see. He has to grow back into the team, Havertz. To another German, Timo Werner on the wing. Man, he runs and he puts the effort in. He almost gets in the positions, but it's not enough, man. He needs a goal now, doesn't he? He needs something to switch that little thing in his head that he's just that little yard quicker to in the brain, because we know he's very fast with his feet. Something's just missing with Werner, and for me he was disappointing in this game. Pulisic was actually very good, certainly in the first half. He was probably our most offensive or almost threatening offensive player in terms of making the runs, that turn of pace, doing something a little bit different, that wiggle in the box in the final third. He was the only one offering that. And maybe he fizzled out a little bit, but he's just come back from injury, so I don't really have any criticisms for Pulisic. Giroud got his goal, wasn't too inspirational in the rest of the game, but all you can ask for him in that is to get his goal. Left-foot volley, 1-0 to Chelsea at the time. He did his job. He came off later for Tammy Abraham. He did his job. And with the subs, Tammy, to be honest, man, none of the subs were overly inspirational. So there's your player ratings. Let's move on to the next bit of the video. Right, so where does this leave Chelsea? 2 consecutive losses, both away, of course. No fans in the stadium. I think that did affect Chelsea against Everton. Obviously, that wasn't the case in this game. I think we just came up against a very resolute defensive Wolves side who without a goal in like a long time, and they were due some good performances, I guess, or a good performance, and that came against Chelsea, sadly. Chelsea were not inspiring. There was no real threat moving forwards, and we looked like we lacked chemistry. Honestly, if Timo Werner and Kai Havertz were anywhere near the level they should be, we win that game. There was players just not firing in the front line. The combinations were too slow. Even when we sped up a little bit at the beginning of the second half, when we looked like we were going to take control again, it didn't come to pass. Do I have any criticisms with the manager? Looking at the bench, not really. No Hakim Ziyech, no Callum Hudson-Odoi. If you look at the bench, who we've got, Tammy Abraham and Kovacic, brings on Tammy Abraham and Kovacic. I think everyone expected Wolves to continue playing their back four, hence Chelsea preparing a back four. I think maybe if you told Frank Lampard a few days ago, right, they're going to play a back three and go back to that, Frank might have said, all right then, I'll go to a back three, let's train that for a couple of days, because we always beat them with a back three. But, you know, you roll the dice, you play a back four, and maybe we would have had the width and the shape to counter their back three, but I wasn't inspired by what happened. So anyway, it sucks. I don't really know what to say. I don't know where the criticism lies. You boys let me know down in the comment section below. I'll be keen to hear what you guys have to say. It's frustrating. It's the December fixture list. It's a couple of away losses to decent sides. I don't know what to say. Subscribe if you're new, try and cheer me up by liking the video, and we move on, boys. Enjoy the football, and I'll see you later.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double. Silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo, chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I laugh me, baby.